From Southern California, this is The Circle of Insight, a show about everything in psychology. Hear the latest in news and views on psychology. Our motto is simple: wherever there is psychology involved, we are there. And now, here's your host of The Circle of Insight, Carlos Vasquez.
From wherever you are around the world, welcome and thank you for joining us. Today we're going to be exploring the world of Farrell's ice cream. That's right, we have with us today the CEO Michael Fleming of Farrell's Ice Cream Parlor. Let's welcome Mr. Fleming to the circle. Welcome, Mr. Fleming.
Thank you, Carlos. Thank you for having me on the show today.
Let's show everybody a little bit of history of Farrell's. So here we're going to watch a 30-second clip and listen to the music. Have fun.
When Deanne had her 8th birthday party at Farrell's, even the Beasley brothers had fun. When Jake the Snake had his birthday at Farrell's, the whole group wanted to come. In fact, there's only one place so crazy, so totally wacko, that everybody has a party. Farrell's. Because whether you're 6 or 14 or right in between, you always have a party at Farrell's.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. I'm getting hungry already, but before we get started, let's find out what got Mr. Fleming interested in buying Farrell's. Because Farrell's had an interesting story. It started off booming. I think it had 108 stores. And
over 130 stores, actually,
130.
nationwide. And started in 1963. Bob Farrell, at the time, tried to take his wife to buy her a sundae, and realized in Portland, Oregon, that they didn't have a place where he could do that. And he wanted a banana split, and realized that, this is something that was needed, and always wanted to get into business. So he got a partner, and Ken McCarthy, and the two of them formed Farrell's Ice Cream Parlor. Now, Ken was working at a company at the time, so they couldn't use his last name. And that's why they chose Farrell's, because he was still working, and it would have been maybe a little conflict of interest. So in any case, Farrell's started out, and it became a hit right off the bat. They served very unique ice cream dishes. It was very entertaining. Bob really wanted to hire people that were more like actors than servers, and it just carried on. It took off very quickly. He began franchising the concept early on. Got up to about 40 or 50 stores, and then Marriott approached him to buy the company, and he ended up selling the company to Marriott with the understanding that he would run the company. And so he did that. Marriott then grew the company to over 130 stores nationwide with Bob at the helm.
Wow, that's a lot of stores.
So yeah, and then at that point, Marriott decided to get out of the restaurant business. They had a group called Host Marriott. They owned Bob's Big Boy. They owned that chain as well as Farrell's and several others. So they decided they wanted out of the food business and sold the concept to an investment group. And that investment group made changes to the Farrell's concept that really destroyed it. Matter of fact, destroyed it within 2 years.
2 years?
2 years, they went into bankruptcy.
Holy cow.
At the time, half of the company were corporate-owned, the other half were franchisees. So the things that the new corporate owners wanted the franchisees to do, the franchisees knew it would kill the company, so they revolted and didn't do them. And, of course, lawsuits went back and forth, and ultimately, with the company into bankruptcy, the franchisees were then given 5 more years to operate as Farrell's, but then they had to remove the name. So that's why Farrell's operated. People went to the stores, they were doing great, and the franchisees were doing great, they were profitable. But then at the end of the 5th year, doors closed, lights out.
Really?
Except there was one lone store in San Diego that was owned by the Ortman family, and John Ortman at the time had 6 Farrell's in San Diego. So when he closed them all, he left one open, tried to stay under the radar, but eventually got caught by Marriott, who then lent a sympathetic ear, did a license agreement, allowed him to stay open. So then that's when, so now we're going to roll ahead about 15 years. Then I got the idea of whatever happened to Farrell's, and the fact that at the time I operated a family entertainment center in Santa Clarita called Mountasia, and we were looking for a food concept. And I thought, wow, what if we put a Farrell's in here? And then I found out kind of the story, approached Marriott, and it took a while, but finally got the license and trademark, and we opened our first new Farrells, if you want to say, in 2009 in Mission Viejo.
Wow. How many stores are you planning to open, or are they opening now?
Well, right now we have 6 locations in California.
Oh, that's great.
Most of them are in Southern California, Orange County, and we have one in Santa Clarita, one in Sacramento.
Are you looking to expand more? Different
Yes,
states?
as a matter of fact, we're going to be franchising our concept. We're actually pretty close to doing a deal with a group in Texas, and then a couple of other groups as well. Obviously, we want to make sure the people that we work with are, of the same fiber as we are, that Bob was, and because that's so important about what Farrells was and is today.
That's where we're going to find out a little bit more about it. You'll see the book right here by Robert E. Farrell. Give him the pickle. So he had a philosophy of how to help people. And one of the questions I wanted to ask you is, when you came in, obviously there was a different environment coming into Farrell's. There's only one. But you obviously studied Robert E. Farrell's philosophy on how to treat the customers and how to promote Farrell's. What happened? Where did it go? What did he do to make it so successful? And what happened to drop it down and then bring you back in to bring it back to success?
Well, Bob was all about people. And that was when he wrote the book, Give 'Em the Pickle. And this is his book here. Yeah, it's available on Amazon and that. And matter of fact, it's a training program, an entire training program that companies like Nordstrom, In-N-Out Burger use as their program for management in guest service, customer service. Because that's who Bob was. And where the pickle came from was that this was early on, he got a letter from a gentleman that said, Mr. Farrell, I've been coming to your restaurants for a couple of years. I come once a week. I always order a hamburger with extra side of pickles, and they never charge me. Well, today, Mr. Farrell, they said that I was going to be charged 25 cents for pickles. If that's the way you're going to be running your company, Mr. Farrell, I'm not going to come back anymore. So when Bob got that letter, he thought, my gosh, we're going to lose a customer of 2 years coming in once a week for 25 cents. Just give him the pickle. And that became the mantra. And we actually hand out even pickle awards and things like that because it's so important. So Bob's philosophy was take care of the customer, take care of your employees, take care of your family. And, those 3 things are really the same things that my partner Paul Kramer and I believe, and that the investment company did not. They were more about the bottom line. They were more about the profit. They were more about what they could do to save a buck. And that's what killed them. And people today, well, I should say not even today, but people know when there's a company that's trying to cut corners. And they can. Matter of fact, one of your recent guests, Dawn Garcia, just talked about food, and really she nailed it. What she talked about with regard to when people go into a restaurant, what they look for, and they can feel it, they can sense it. When you walk in, you can tell, and that's why I think Farrell's has been so successful. Because when you walk in a Farrell's, for people that haven't been to Farrell's before, it really is very much, it's a turn-of-the-century themed ice cream parlor, old-fashioned ice cream parlor. When I say turn of the century, I'm talking the last century, early 1900s, late 1800s. And that's why I'm dressed the way I am, and we wear the hats. And,
I have mine.
Yeah, we wear the hats, and this is what they wore back in the day. And our servers are very entertaining, and when people walk in the door, they can immediately sense this is a happy place. And that's what Farrell's was about. That's what the other company was not about. And it didn't take long for that company to fail.
Well, let me ask you this question, too. Psychology show, so we always look to see what's going on with human behavior. But you must have some kind of, I wouldn't say secret, but there must be something, a formula that you use to be able to train your staff. because it takes a special staff
It
to
does.
do that. You just can't hire anybody and say, all right, be happy, go out there and get them maybe a good service. What do you do? What do you look for? How do you keep the team happy and motivated?
Well, the first thing is I always talk about hire the right people. And for this particular job that we have, we need people that really have awesome personalities. So many years ago, I had a manager with one of my other companies that was let's call him a semi-professional game show player. And he was on many, many game shows, and he won a lot of money. And the auditions that they go through, he came to me one day and he goes, Mike, if we're trying to hire these, really highly motivated, we should do the same type of program that I go through when I audition for a game show. So we created a hiring system using an audition process that's kind of a combination of game show, American Idol, and The Voice. And if you put all of those together, this audition program, by the time they've gone through it, literally it is a lot like American Idol in a sense, but the last process is where we actually get groups of 50 and we have interactive questions and things that we have them do. Like, for example, the first thing we do is we put them in a room and there's a panel of judges, if you can picture this, like 10 judges, which are all managers, that are all seated there like American Idol. And they all come in, we put them in a group, they all have numbers on. The lead entertainer will go out and say, thank you for attending today, and walk away. And then all of a sudden the hokey pokey starts. So you've got 50 people standing there, kind of looking at each other, looking at the judges like, what are we going to do? And then some of them, you start to see them, and then a few more, and then a few more. Well, then you can really tell. I mean, that's just one little thing of about 10 different things that we do.
Wow.
I mean, it's a very, very sophisticated program. But I can tell you this: the people that come out of it that we choose are absolutely the best. Our turnover rate is one of the lowest, if not the lowest, in the restaurant industry. We only turn over about 15%.
15?
15%.
Wow, that is good.
McDonald's is over 100%.
Yeah.
Most restaurants, if they're lucky, will be in about a 30-35%. And the reason is, I think, two things. One, we hired the people, we explained, we do it, we have a great training program, but I think more importantly is that they love the interaction with people. And they're a people loving type individual, and it really brings out that special type of individual. So we've been very fortunate.
That sounds fabulous to me. We're going to have to take a break from this right now, but when we come back, we're going to find out a little bit about ice cream and psychology, and can you actually burn more calories by eating ice cream? We're going to find out more about that right after this message.
Hi, welcome to Adelante. This is Adelante Recovery, and my name is Yvette Kuglin, and I'm part of the staff.
Adelante Recovery Center has helped people in dual diagnosis for 5 years. We accept most PPO insurances and provide luxury accommodations and 24-hour support. To speak with an admissions counselor, call 1-888-242-4450.
A lot of time we don't even know what's wrong with us, and sometimes we need to get away to figure that out. So if you want to go for a little retreat out in Corona Del Mar, which is a confidential location, we're here to help. So we're only a phone call away. Thank you.
Welcome back. We're going to find out more of those answers that I told you about earlier about ice cream and can it burn more calories. But before we get to that, I want to ask Mr. Fleming here, what are some keys to success for the future of Farrells? What are some of the things, the direction you're heading?
I think the number one thing is we're growing. We're going to grow slowly. We've had, after Farrells being around for so long and then going away, we have right now almost 300,000 Facebook likes.
300,000?
300,000,
wow.
And that was just accumulated in a 5-year period. We've got thousands that follow us on Twitter and Instagram, And, they want us to come to all these different cities. We are looking, for franchisees, but being very, very selective in who we choose. We want multi-unit operators that are very successful, that can take what we've done, because we know we've been able to be successful with what we're doing. And so we want to make sure that we grow carefully. I can see Farrell's, I hope in my lifetime, and I'm going to say probably within 10 years, we will have an international location. My goal is I want to see Farrell's all over the world. Farrell's is about celebrating. We say Farrell's is about celebrating life. And we spread what we call happy-itis to every guest every day. And our team knows that, and that's what we do. And that's what we want. We want people to be able to come to Farrell's, have great food, have great ice cream, but more importantly, leave with a smile on their face, especially when they walk in the door after having a bad day or that kind of thing.
Actually, that reminds me of some of the things we talked about prior to the show. You did some great research. I mean, this guy's an amazing guest. You did a study you found on flavors and personality. Tell us about that. What's going on here?
There was a research study that was done, and you know what's kind of interesting? I kind of thought this might be the case, because I do know that places in Las Vegas, they will use different types of smells in different areas of the restaurant to bring about different psychological changes for the guests. They use, for example, vanilla, which is a very calming type of flavor that will bring the people down. So they want them calm when they go into the casino. They don't want them all hyped up. They want them calm, and then when they get there, then they do other things to get them hyped up. But for example, we talked about there was a study that was done, and a scientist by the name of Hirsch did this study, and to see if there was a correlation between the flavors that people like and their personality. And he did find that there absolutely was. And it was interesting too in this study that people's like, if I were to say, what's your favorite flavor?
Mine is pistachio nut.
Oh, I figured you'd give me one that's not on the list.
Second favorite is Rocky Road.
Okay, well, yeah.
Right, Rocky Road.
Well, Rocky Road's a good one. Rocky Road, according to this study, though, it says Rocky Road lovers are aggressive. You don't seem like you're aggressive.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, maybe I should ask him. But it says that in this one, you're most likely to be aggressive and an engaging person, a very good listener. Very interesting.
That's
and
interesting.
Very goal-oriented. And Rocky Road lovers are often very successful. But sometimes their aggressive behavior can hurt feelings.
Ah, geez.
You might need some ice cream after hearing that. But let's talk about the vanilla people, because vanilla actually is the number one flavor.
Vanilla is the number one
absolutely. More vanilla is sold than any other flavor. It's the simplest of ice cream flavors, and vanilla lovers tend to be impulsive. They're also emotionally expressive, and they're very successful in close relationships. So, guys, if you take your girl to Farrell's and see if she orders vanilla, that's an interesting. That's kind of an interesting thing about the vanilla. But strawberry, they're introverts, but they're often very tolerant, devoted, introverted. But they tend to be logical and very thoughtful. Chocolate lovers, flirtatious.
Oh. Surprise.
Flirtatious, seductive, lively, charming, dramatic, and gullible. Our mint chip lovers, that's another one. Mint chip is signified by ambition and confidence, but they also tend to be argumentative. I'm a mint chip guy.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think I'm too argumentative, but they're also very compatible people.
Interesting.
Then we go to rainbow sherbet. They're pessimistic people. Tend to be downbeat. So I don't know, but they're very analytical and very decisive.
Huh, interesting.
Rocky Road, well, we kind of talked about you and all those others out there. Coffee is a very popular flavor as well. Those people tend to be very dramatic people, but they lived life with gusto. and they're not so concerned about the future. They thrive on the passion of the moment. And my daughter, that's my daughter. She loves that. That's
She like coffee?
She does, yeah. Chocolate chip lovers are very generous people, and also very competent. They're go-getters, and butter pecan lovers are very conscientious people, very respectful, and they have high standards of right and wrong. So those are the psychological profiles of ice cream eaters. I'm sorry if I offended anyone out there.
We're going to continue on with this because this is interesting because you also said ice cream actually does have a benefit for people who go through depression.
Yes, it does.
So how does it work there?
Well, kind of interesting. Another study that was done and written up by Mark David, who was the founder of the Psychology of Eating. Did a study or reviewed a study that showed how people think about eating not only ice cream but food in general. And what happens when we eat a food is if we're thinking about the food we're eating. For example, let's say you're on a diet and you decide you want to eat some ice cream. So as you're eating the ice cream, you're feeling really guilty. Oh, I shouldn't be doing this. Oh, it's so good. I love it. But this is terrible. Well, what's happening is as it enters it actually starts in the cerebral cortex of your brain, and then it goes down into the limbic system, which is the lower part of the center of the brain. And that regulates the emotional and psychological functions such as stress, hunger, sex drive, heart rate, and all of that. And then within that system is the hypothalamus, which regulates the sensory and emotional part. And that's the part that really sends the signal. It sends the signal that you're feeling guilty, you're stressed. It picks up that stress. It sends it through the parasympathetic fibers to the stomach and all of that, and actually slows down your digestion of this, which then, because of the slowness of it, turns it to fat.
So it could make it fatter just by thinking negatively while you're eating ice cream.
While you're eating, but conversely, if you're eating ice cream and you're going, this is the greatest stuff in the world and I could eat some more. Matter of fact, I think I will have some more, and you're chowing it down, it reverses itself, and your body will actually process the ice cream quicker and burn it quicker. So the study that was done showed the people that had these negative thoughts actually gained more through the caloric intake because it wasn't being burned than the ones that were happy during the time they ate. So all I can say is be happy when you eat ice cream.
I guess so.
And you'll burn it.
And at Farrells you will be. That's what the staff is trained to do, is keep you happy, keep you excited.
That's right. That's what we want.
Well, there you go. You can burn more calories just by going to Farrells for that. That's wonderful. We also listed, I think you'll see right here, top cities in the U.S.
Oh, gosh.
So we're going to do the top 10 cities. A la David Letterman here for a minute. So what are the top 10 cities, starting for number 10?
Well, it's top 10, Portland, Oregon. That's where it started.
Oh,
Farrells, yeah. So this is our United States nationwide, and according to the Dairy Association, Portland, Oregon, followed by Fresno. Number 9.
There you go.
Number 9. And right next to Fresno is Bakersfield. So it must be something going on there between Fresno and Bakersfield. And again, now this is a nationwide study. So Bakersfield's number 7, or number 8 rather, and Washington D.C.
The politicians are getting into the ice cream kick now. All right.
Right, and then Fort Worth, Texas, which I thought was kind of interesting, but maybe it has to do something with the heat or something. Then Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Well, but I knew Wisconsin is one of the areas where most ice cream is actually consumed. The center, north central part of our country, if you grab all of those states there, they consume the most ice cream, actually.
Oh, really?
Columbus, Ohio, so that goes along with that.
North Central, yeah.
Philadelphia, on the
Brotherly
East
love.
Coast.
All right.
And they're number 3. So number 2, Dallas, Texas. So we got a little Dallas-Fort Worth thing going on. With Dallas being number 2, and number 1 is
Drum roll.
Long Beach, California.
Long
Beach. Don't ask me why. I don't even know why. But we do get a lot of people from Long Beach. So so it's got to be So per capita, Long Beach wins.
Do you have a store in Long Beach?
We don't, but we will now.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much again, Mr. Fleming, for coming on to the Circle.
Oh, thanks, Carlos. This has been a lot of fun.
Not only is he a wonderful person, he has a great entrepreneurial spirit, but it also runs down the family. So I want to mention a couple things here. We got Shauna Fleming as his daughter, who actually did a wonderful program as her campaign to send 1 million thank you letters to our troops. 1 million letters. And how many does she have now?
Over 7 minutes. She started in 2004 as a high school freshman. She graduated Chapman University. She continued the program the last 10 years. Over 7 million letters have been sent through her organization. It's actually amillionthanks.org is the website.
Millionthanks.org. If you want to participate in that, I highly recommend it. These are people that are sacrificing their lives for our liberty and freedom that we enjoy today. And the other thing we wanted to mention, too, is the Robert E. Farrell book, Give 'em the Pickle. We saw it earlier. You're going to see it again. There it is. And I would highly recommend that everybody stops by the Farrell Ice Cream Parlor restaurant. Once again, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Carlos.
I'm going to wear my hat.
We'll put our hats on. And too bad we didn't have a little siren going on right now. Because we have sirens. We have sirens and bells.
We'll put that on. And make sure you go to Farrell's. I have the menu right here. There's a couple ideas just for you. Let me give you.
And we also have health-conscious food and no sugar-added ice cream, as well as gluten-free.
This is what I'm going to try is a Farrell's Rocky Road. What a trip. I will try not to be too aggressive when I walk into the restaurant, but we'll see what happens. 2 scoops of chocolate ice cream smothered in a creamy marshmallow topping, whipped cream, nuts, and a cherry, which goes down smoothly.
And that'll make you happy. And just eat it when you're happy, will you?
That's right. Thank you again, Mr. Fleming.
Thanks. Thank you
Very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Remember, our motto is simple. Wherever there's psychology involved, even in an ice cream parlor, we're there. See you next time.
Sunday we concoct it for you. Farrells is family fun for everyone. Farrells be fun.